And welcome to the music course overview for the 2022 exam, which will be the current year 10s. I'm just going to take you through how the course is assessed and what the students will need to be doing, and any coursework that you need to be aware of, and how they can revise at home. So the course is broken down in three key areas. The first one is about performance, and that's about how students can rehearse with their instrument and then perform two pieces, one as a soloist, one as an ensemble. Then you have to do compositions, two compositions. One is a free comp, which is what the year 10s are currently working on now, and as they go into year 11 they'll start one which is about a brief. They have to do an exam which lasts an hour and a half, and the first hour of that is listening to pieces of music and understanding what they can hear, the devices that they hear within the music. And then at the end of that there's a 30-minute written piece where they have to write about two set works that we study throughout the course. So their performance work, they need to perform two pieces. One's a solo and one is an ensemble or a group performance. They have to be a minimum of 4 minutes, and that's total, that's combined. The ensemble actually has to be at least 1 minute, but yeah, combined length of 4 minutes or more. They submit a score when they hand in their work, and that could be a written score, it could be annotated score, it could be notated, tablature, it could be lyrics actually accompanied by a CD or an audio track of the music that they've sung, if it's a vocal performance, for example. They can also do a technology performance as well, which is where they create essentially a cover version of a song. And some of the year 10s, some of the year 11s are already starting to do that. It's assessed in a slightly different way, but the scores are the same. And that could be a really great option if students aren't particularly experienced with their instrument. That can be a really, really strong option for them. You do still need to have some keyboard skills, and it's highly recommended that you're good at using the computers and the software that we use in the classroom. So students that do technology performance would be expected to kind of spend as much time working towards that as the instrumentalist would rehearsing their pieces at home. Okay. So the grading's broken down to 3 areas as well. You get 6 marks for the difficulty of the piece. Full marks there, 6 marks would be for a piece that's equivalent to grade 5 or above. You then get, there's 2 areas. You get 15 marks for the technical control and accuracy, how well they've played their instruments, and also 15 marks for how well they interpret the original artist's intentions. And I've put there some examples of what an outstanding piece would look like and sound like. The composition is there's 2 of them to do as well, and there will be one that's a completely free composition, so they can kind of choose anything really that suits their taste and style. And there's also one that they start in year 11, which is to a set brief. They actually get 4 briefs that they can select from, and they cover the 4 main areas of study in music, which is Western classical music, popular music, it's traditional music, kind of folk music, world music comes under that category, and it's 20th century classical music, so things like minimalism, for example. All of those compositions have to include and demonstrate an understanding in 4 specific areas, and I've written down at the bottom of this slide here what those areas are. Again, the composition is marked out 36, each of them is, so 72 in total, and there are 18 marks for their ability to demonstrate suitable selection in at least 2 of the following that I've got up the top there: rhythm, meter, texture, melody, structure and form. And then they get another 18 marks for the same, but with harmony, tonality, timbre, dynamics, phrasing and articulation. This is very much something that we go through in the classroom, and they're not expected to do composition outside of the classroom other than anything they want to do as an additional that will obviously help them. The briefs that they get, I've just put up there a couple of of examples of what the briefs might look like. We don't know what they're going to be. They get them about 4 weeks into the start of year 11. We get those briefs. So when they go on to the exam, they sit an hour paper, which is they'll be given 8 pieces of music to listen to, and within those 8 there'll be a range of questions associated with the excerpts, with the piece of music. And I hopefully can play you a piece now if this. So the music you're hearing is an example of something you might hear with those questions associated with them. Again, this is something that we would go through in class, and we will do a range of different lessons to get their theory knowledge up to speed, and also their exam preparation up to speed as well. There is obviously an awful lot they can do outside of the lessons to revise for these exams, and they're not particularly they're not it's not an easy exam, let's say. I mean, nothing is, I'm sure, but the exam can be quite demanding, because it does expect the students to have a very, very broad range of musical knowledge to be able to do very well in the exam. So obviously it's really important that we look at all of that in class, but there is definitely huge gains that students can make outside of the classroom when they're revising at home. They also need to learn about 2 study pieces. So the current year 10s are looking at these 2 pieces. We've got a Mozart piece, which is brand new to the course this year, along with Paul Simon's Graceland album. Both of these pieces are exciting. They're emotionally charged. They're very, very interesting pieces to look at, and I've got no doubt the students will really enjoy looking at them when we start to look at them in more detail. But I mean, one of the things they can be doing, and they already should be doing actually, is listening to those 2 pieces of music as often as possible, so they just get used to hearing them and understanding a basic sense of their style. They then have to answer a question that looks like this. So this is more of a contextual understanding type of question. They don't listen to the audio in the exam for this. They just have to remember everything they know about this particular set piece. So again, for the year 10s, it's a Mozart piece they'll have to answer, and there's 8 marks for this question. There's a further 4 marks available for with this same category, and then they get the same again for the Paul Simon piece. So in total, that actually equates to 10% of their total exam that they answer through just these 2 set pieces. So revision wise, the big one that the students can use is this excellent site called Focus on Sound. It's got 2 titles. It's Focus on Sound, and it's also called Music First. I'm not totally sure what one is the main one, but anyway, it's a really, really brilliant resource for students. It's absolutely invaluable actually, and they must be using it all the time. We use it as a homework tool, so each week they'll be set some kind of bit of homework that will allow them to revise what they've been learning in the class and kind of follow that learning on. But there is so much more on this website that they can get stuck into, and I would really, really urge every student to be using this way beyond the classroom, and particularly in the run up to the final exam. It's fantastic for getting a range of different listening exams, listening questions, and there's a whole section on there full of AQA specific resources as well, which I'd really recommend the students dive into and use fully. Other things that they can be doing, I've put the link up there to the Focus on Sound website. There's a really great book that's available on Amazon, GCSE AQA resource. It's very, very text heavy, but it does contain a lot of listening practice questions, which are really, really important for the students to be doing. I will print out a revision pack, and I'll be giving those to the students in due course. That will include a whole kind of set work study guide, and it'll include some cue cards and various other bits and bobs that will help them along the way. The other thing that I've not written on here is YouTube. YouTube's fantastic for music revision, because if you type in AQA music revision, you will find an awful lot of pretty decent, actually, listening exam papers that they can try out, which again is just something that's so useful to do. So yeah, I'd encourage all students to be actively trying to listen to as much music and associate the learning that we've done in the classroom with the music that they are listening to. And you can do that through any of these three things, and you can also do that on YouTube. I think that's it for the overview. Obviously, please get in touch with me if you've got any questions at all. I haven't written my name on here in a minute, but I'll make sure I put it on the bottom of the site. Okay, thank you so much.